measuring the time diligently in and of itself.
Hezbollah missile forces commander has been killed after the IDF carried out a, quote, targeted strike on the Lebanese capital on Tuesday. The attacks continued overnight. Footage circulating on social media shows the skies over Lebanon lit up by the Israeli strikes. The bombings claimed the lives of 6, leaving 15 more wounded, according to the Lebanese Health Ministry, who add the death toll following 2 days of strikes is close to 570 people, with more than 1,800 wounded. Well, our news team across the region can take us through the very latest developments now. Yassin Ekin joins us from Beirut, Rafa Noshna is in Jerusalem, and Yusuf Jalali reports from Tehran. Morning to all. Yassin, the Lebanese capital, as we mentioned, again coming under bombardment. What's being targeted? What is the situation like?
The attacks have continued overnight, and there were multiple reports coming in, so it was a long day and it was a busy day following all of these developments. We understand that the Israeli Air Force has carried out strikes across southern territories in Lebanon, and on Tuesday carried out attacks in the capital of Beirut, which targeted a top commander within Hezbollah's forces. But the developments, of course, are worrying for a number of other reasons. We understand Israel is carrying out targets, specifically targeting senior command in Hezbollah's leadership, and we understand that some of these people that are being essentially killed or assassinated are also part of the United States most wanted list. Some of them have bounties on their heads for up to $7 million. We understand that there were multiple reports from Israeli newspapers, from Reuters, that suggest that thousands of people have amassed on the Syrian border or close to the Golden Heights. They've tracked movements suggesting up to 40,000, if not more, people are volunteering to support the Lebanese or the Hezbollah cause if the situation on the ground gets worse. Now, the question there is, of course, how much worse can it get? We understand that the death toll at this moment sits well above 500. In the 2006 war, over the course of just about a month, more than 1,100 people were killed. So the tallies right now, just about half of what it was in 2006, only in a matter of days. So the situation on the ground is becoming that much more volatile, and Lebanon's health minister has spoken out to the international community, essentially sparking outrage, but also calling for help. Let's listen to what the Lebanese health minister has to say.
We hope the international community will fulfill its obligations and exert the necessary pressure on Israel to end the hostilities in Gaza and Lebanon and resolve the issue through diplomatic means. These attacks are causing serious harm to civilians, the vulnerable, women and children. With the frequency of Israeli attacks and the large number of injuries, the Lebanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs is calling on friendly and brotherly nations to provide necessary supplies and medications. This is what we need most at the moment.
To Maria Fanoshna. Maria, I know I mislocated you there. You're now...
So, like everything else, though, it's now beginning to look like Gaza in Lebanon. The least the flux will draw everyone in. I mean, that's a hot topic of today. Shalom! First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors the elders and apostles, a great millstone, who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And shout out to Yaakins out there in 4 quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Raka the Yahweh, Raka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Brakatum. So, like everything else, though, the men of war draw near, right? Israeli state pushing West Asia to the brink of all-out war. Regional countries, so that's exactly what the scriptures say that they would do, so you're seeing it in real time. Israeli state is pushing the entire region into an all-out war, they said. The international community and the UN Security Council need to bear their responsibilities to stop the war. So it's coming from the foreign ministers of Iraq, Jordan, Egypt. Says military campaign against Lebanon and its genocide of the besieged Gaza Strip pushes the whole region to the brink of an all-out war. Well, like everything else, though, you think that the Israeli state's going to de-escalate? Oh, they might, because the MOTB hasn't been passed yet. But this is going to keep flaring back up. World reacts to the massacre in Lebanon as nearly 500 killed in the strikes. World leaders call for de-escalation after devastating Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon ratchet the regional tensions amid the regime's genocidal war in Gaza. The regime's deadly strikes, which started on Monday and continued into Tuesday, were Israeli state's fiercest attacks against Lebanon in years. So, we already know that Lebanon and Israeli state are at war. Hezbollah fires first ballistic missile on Tel Aviv, targets Mossad headquarters. Yesterday marked, which is actually 2 days ago, marked first where Hezbollah targeted Israeli naval base south of Haifa. Israeli state said it intercepted a Hezbollah ballistic missile aimed at Tel Aviv. The Israeli military said it intercepted the surface missile, set off air raid sirens in Tel Aviv and across central Israeli state. There were no reports of casualties or damage in retaliation to Israeli military. IDF said it struck a site in South Lebanon from where the missile was launched. So, like everything else though, Hezbollah later said it was targeting the command headquarters of Mossad spy agency. Given the intercept, the effort didn't appear to come close, but it strongly supports that there could be more waves of strikes targeting Tel Aviv to come. The projectile was reportedly intercepted by Israelis' David Sling system. So, hey, you know, we know that Mossad is responsible for those pager attacks. Then you got this happening, right? You got strikes on Syria as well. Israeli missiles intercepted over Syrian port city, which hosts Russian Navy. The Syrian Arab Army told Reuters that Israeli missiles targeted the Syrian port city of Tartus shortly before midnight Tuesday evening. Syrian air defenses reportedly intercepted the inbound missiles, in which those are mostly S-200 systems. There are currently widespread reports of multiple explosions. So, yeah, you can see where that is. It's just north of Lebanon. So you see that the Israeli state is like going all the way up, you know, just trying to conquer that whole land. So here's some of the footage here, or the interceptions at least. Like everything else though, Syria is also being protected by Russia. Russia safeguards them. So, it doesn't mean the Israeli state doesn't try to, you know, a lot of times they still get past that anyways. U.S. must get out of Ukraine. This is coming from Donald Trump. The United States needs a clear exit strategy for the Ukraine conflict. Donald Trump told supporters at a campaign rally, insisting that neither his rival Harris nor Biden had such a plan. Biden and Kamala got us into this war in Ukraine, and they cannot get us out. They can't get us out. The former president told the crowd in Savannah on Tuesday, reiterating his promise to end the conflict immediately if he is re-elected. I think we're stuck in that war unless I'm president. I'll get it done. I'll negotiate. I'll get us out. We got to get out. Biden says we will not leave until we win, Trump claimed. What happens if the Russians win? That's what they do. They fight wars. As someone told me the other day, they beat Hitler. They beat Napoleon. That's what they do. They fight, and it's not pleasant, Trump said. And he's right about that, but this is all part of the plan, because it's really looking like Donald Trump will probably be the one to win, and you know, they may or may not carry out an assassination. You can see though that they are playing that game, you know, as part of the bread and circuses. And this is coming from Czechoslovakia. Ukraine needs to be realistic and give up its territory to Russia, you know, which would end the war. Czechoslovakian president, former NATO general, told the New York Times in an interview that Ukraine needs to be realistic about its goals in the war, and that most likely the outcome of the conflict is that Ukraine will have to concede some territories. You know, because you can't beat Russia. Russia wins wars. However, the temporary occupation could last for years, according to Pavel, who is currently visiting the U.S. So, pretty much though, he's saying that, look, man, to end the casualties, just, you know, pretty much, you know, let them become Russian Federation. And this is from Russia, and this is redacted, which really has good insight on what's going on. But hey, you know, again, you know, Russia has promised to use these short-range ballistic missiles. We know the long-range ones are definitely going to be used in this war, but, you know, pretty much so. Yeah. The men of war are drawing near.
Europe is going on high alert as Russia is now warning tactical nuclear weapons will be used against NATO targets if NATO and the United States do not step off, which they are not showing that they are inclined to do. Now, Hillary Clinton wants criminal charges against anyone who speaks out against NATO. So what I'm about to say, she wants to be criminal, but I'm going to say it anyway and bring it on, you warmongering piece of garbage. We'll get to Hillary in a second. Today, Zelensky is coming to the United States to meet with Biden and Harris and Trump, begging them
Obviously,
to let him
this
use
is a couple
long-range
days
weapons
ago.
to attack Russia. Here he is over the weekend in Scranton, Pennsylvania, visiting a plant that manufactures 155 millimeter artillery shells.
Signing it with a friggin' Sharpie.
Yes. Now, on X, he says that this very plant will be ramping up production for Ukraine. The comments alone make me want to punch a wall. For instance, this fella says, this is something I wish so many on the right would understand. The majority of the money we give to Ukraine is being used to expand capacity and production at these plants, which creates American jobs. Now, first of all, I ask you, do we want a strong economy that's based on killing people? Is that what we're agreeing to here? Second, the money
But
we
that
give
is what Babylon
has to
is
be
known
created
for.
out of debt. That so far has tanked our economy. That means that your groceries are higher. So this, it pays America and makes American jobs, is fairly short-sighted given that it's tanking our economy. Don't you think? Anybody?
Yeah. Yes.
Bueller?
They don't see it for what it is.
Professor, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro signed some bombs himself. Watch him do this while Zelensky looks on like he just sold a gym membership.
He's so proud.
Yeah, now this is a good reminder that Democrats are the party of...
Wow, they act like that's signing a title belt in WWE, doesn't it?
But Democrats are leading this charge. Now, we'll see more of this week because Zelensky is in the U.S. to present his victory plan. This is just a rebranding of his peace summit that he tried to get President Biden to attend in August, and Biden ghosted that. In propaganda, I would like to tell Justin to kiss my ass, because what this channel does not abide is lies that lead to war, and I am going to show you, Justin, how she is lying. Before I do that, what were you going to say, David?
I was going to say, did she just admit that she shared military secrets with a non-NATO member?
I suppose.
I think that's what she just said. I just shared intelligence with
there it
Zelensky
is,
so
right
how he
there.
could protect himself. And then, of course, Trump's retort a few...
He said so at the debates recently. Recall this.
I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the
there's a lot of
ammunition,
people
the
dead
artillery,
because of
the
this
javelins,
support.
the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now.
Okay, Justin Vero in our chat says this channel is Russian propaganda. I would like to tell Justin to kiss my ass, because what this channel does not abide is lies that lead to war, and I am going to show you, Justin, how she is lying. Before I do that, what were you going to say, David?
I was going to say, did she just admit that she shared military secrets with a non-NATO member?
I suppose.
I think that's what you just said. I just shared intelligence with Zelensky so how he could protect himself. And then, of course, Trump's retort a few seconds later was, so you met with him, and then 2 days later, Russia invaded. Like, whatever you did was highly effective.
Yes. Okay, allow me to point out how she is lying. This was not an invasion at the whim of Putin, and Putin has never expressed interest in going beyond the territory where the war currently is. Further, when she says he would give it up, I just wonder, when was it hers to give up? When was it ours in the United States to give up?
2014, when we incited a coup and installed a CIA-backed puppet government.
Yep, there it is.
So they belong to us, they belong to BlackRock, they belong to Vanguard, they belong to Kamala Harris by proxy.
Let's go back to the map.
Demand a return on our investment for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, we are investing in the territory that we don't own. So let's again look at the map so that we look at what she's talking about. The territory that is dark red and dark gray are the regions that Ukraine has been attacking with NATO's help since 2014, as Clayton said, because either those people are Russian, ethnic Russians, or Russian aligned. Innocent people live there, and the Ukrainian army has attacked them in violent and unspeakable ways, killing civilians for a decade. In 2022, as attacks in that region escalated, Ukraine attacking, not Russia, supported by the US and NATO's money. 5 mayors from those regions asked Russia to come in and stop it. Russian parliament voted to do that, not Putin personally. And in fact, once the Russian army had control of those places, those people voted overwhelmingly to join Russia. It was not Putin's invasion. It was not an unprovoked attack. The attack had already been started by Ukraine. Now, Kamala Harris is either not studied because she's stupid or she's lying. Why would she do that?
I would go with lying.
And why would she have the hubris to talk about giving it up? Who gave us Ukraine to give up? Whose is it to give up? The people who lived there voted. Is that not the will of the people? Or should they just go back to dying because Ukraine wants to attack them? Now she says Ukraine is still sovereign today, lol. Why is Zelensky here then? He keeps pitching war as peace, and our leaders and our media are swallowing it. Again, NATO provoked this war by sending Zelensky those weapons to keep attacking those regions.
1984.
NATO's the one that wants the war to be escalated. Now, Hillary Clinton, who is also lustful for this war, told MSNBC's Rachel Maddow last week that anyone who speaks out against NATO's involvement in Ukraine against Russia, as I clearly just did, should be prosecuted.
Just as Mueller indicted a lot of Russians who were engaged in direct election interference and boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence.
Oh, bring it on, you warmongering witch! Because we talk out against NATO's. So we talk out against NATO's involvement and attacks in these regions and this provocation. And so you want to criminally prosecute those people who speak out against this treachery?
Yes, that's what she wants.
Yep, you have to support the war, right? You know, just like all the other ones, right? You know, Iraq was overthrown, their government was overthrown, and that place has been occupied by the U.S. You could say the same happened with Ukraine for sure. And it's been that way for years. Yeah, democracy they brought, right? Operation Iraqi Freedom. Is Iraq really a free place? Or do they keep on having proxies like ISIS, supported by the U.S.? Russian army liberates 2 new towns, destroys Ukraine drone manufacturing workshops. The Russian Defense Ministry announced that its armed forces strengthened their positions, thwarted attacks by Kiev, liberated 2 new towns, destroyed Ukraine armed vehicles and ammunition depots, and downed 31 drones on various combat fronts. Russian forces defeated formation of Kiev troops in several areas and repelled 3 attacks during which Ukraine terrorists lost about 120 soldiers, 3 tanks, and an infantry fighting vehicle. 2 rocket launchers and 7 field missiles were destroyed, the ministry said in a statement. And of course, can't forget about Azov's battalion, which is part of the Nazis, you know, but don't ever say that Zelensky is a Nazi. You know, you can't do that. No, because that's criminal, right? Deep State claims Iran seeking to kill Trump after Biden Department of Justice openly placed bounty on his head. You know, so this is something interesting that came up. You know, so there's a bounty on Trump's head, and yet they're trying to draw Iran into this war, you know. Yeah, and Donald J. Trump is the big time part of this shit show. Big threats on my life by Iran. The entire U.S. military is watching and waiting. Moves were already being made by Iran that didn't work out. I'm surrounded by more men, guns, and weapons. Yeah, it's all part of that shit show. You know, if you believe in the elections, well, we just happen to know that that's all rigged anyways. Yeah, elections are rigged, but make no mistake about it, this will be an all-out war. And it will destroy Babylon. Babylon the Great will lose this war. Because it's not just Iran they're fighting, but Russia as well. So that leads me here to Obadiah, chapter 1. Vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai concerning Edom, which is another term for Rome, but it's also the high place of Esau, right? A messenger has been sent among the nations, saying, Arise, and let us rise against her for battle. Behold, I will make you small among the nations. You will be greatly despised. Who's that talking about? That's talking about America. America's despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who dwell in the clefts of the rock, which is really talking about the Edomites, whose habitation is high. Now, this is going to be Edomites against Edomites, but still, the third woe is coming quickly. You say, in your heart, who will bring me down to the ground? You know, you think you're invincible. Though you ascend as high as the eagle, and through you set your nest among the stars, which another term for that are the Israelites. Because the stars of heaven are really talking about the Israelites. From there I will bring you down, saith the Most High. If these had come to you, if robbers by night, oh, how you will be cut off. Would you not have stolen till they had enough? If great gatherers had come unto you, would you not have left some gleanings? And like everything else though, Esau takes, he doesn't leave anything back. Oh, how Esau shall be searched out. How his hidden treasure shall be sought after. You know, jumping down a little bit. Will I not in that day, saith the Most High, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding from the mountains of Esau? Then your mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that everyone from the mountains of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. That's talking about the nuclear war. So like everything else though, this war does have an end out. And it ends with Babylon the Great being destroyed. So hopefully this has been edifying for that. I want to say Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadosh, Wa Abab Babal. Brakathum, Jehovah Elect, Shalom.